We are prepared to work together to write a new chapter for this city. But make no mistake, the pattern or practice of misconduct that we found in Memphis must end. And federal law authorizes us to sue for an injunction if necessary to accomplish that objective. Ensuring lawful, non-discriminatory, transparent, and effective policing is a top priority for the Justice Department. Let me now just talk about the sum total of our work. Since January of 2021, the department has launched 12 pattern or practice investigations into law enforcement agencies. We also are enforcing 16 pre-existing agreements with law enforcement agencies across the country. These collective efforts are resource and time intensive, but have fueled real reforms, including most recently in Seattle, Baltimore, Albuquerque, and more. I want to thank those in Memphis who worked with us. I want to thank the leaders, advocates, and family members who provided helpful information during our investigation. Memphis is the heartland of civil rights advocacy, and the people of Memphis deserve to feel safe. They deserve to feel safe in their homes, their neighborhoods, their cars, especially when you encounter police officers. I'll now turn the floor over to Acting U.S. Attorney Reagan Fondren.
Thank you, Assistant Attorney General Clark. My name is Reagan Fondren, and I am the Acting U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Tennessee. I stand before you as a native Memphian. The city is my home. I love Memphis, and I am committed to doing the work that it will take for our city to be a safe place for all people. We have a long history of civil rights organizing and community engagement. Those who marched for civil rights, sat in at lunch counters, and kneeled at churches sacrificed so that we would live by one rule of law, so that the same law would apply to all people, regardless of race, gender, or socioeconomic background. When the Department of Justice opened this investigation in July of last year, we promised to be thorough and objective, to follow the facts wherever they lead, and that is exactly what we did. This process and these findings uncovered one thing on which I believe we can all agree. Our city has a lot of work to do. The resounding conclusion from this investigation is that there is a significant disconnect in the culture, communication, and directives that drive our city's law enforcement and the lived experiences and perspectives of the citizens of this district. It is a disconnect that erodes trust and makes our community less safe, but it is one that we have the power to fix. Memphians are rightly concerned with the gun violence and violent crime. They are also rightly concerned about the collective approach that we must take to tackle these issues. A collective approach includes law enforcement and citizens. Investigating and solving crime requires cooperation and engagement from the community, partnering with community members and responding to the problems that they face. It requires the community's trust. Without that trust, policing becomes less effective and far more dangerous for both officers and the people that they protect. That is why it was crucial that DOJ investigators hear directly from community members about their interactions with officers, the effect of MPD's practices, and their views on public safety in Memphis. The investigative team conducted extensive community outreach, including holding in-person and virtual community meetings. The team met with community members, advocates, union officials, criminal defense attorneys, prosecutors, judges, and service providers. We are grateful for everyone who shared their experiences and perspectives with us. We could not have completed this investigation without you. As part of this report, we recommend remedial measures to address the violations we found. These measures include improvements to policies, training, supervision, and accountability. These measures are just a starting point, a framework for a more detailed set of changes. We are committed to working with Mayor Young, Chief Davis, the Memphis Police Department, and our Memphis partners to move forward. I hope that there will be ongoing conversations with city leadership as to our next steps. To their credit, they did not wait for our findings report to make changes. Last year, before we opened our investigation, the city and MPD released hours of unedited camera footage of officers' encounter with Tyree Nichols. MPD swiftly fired 7 officers, and Chief Davis disbanded the Scorpion unit. Mayor Young has been transparent about the importance of a comprehensive approach to public safety, effective coordination among city agencies, and partnership with community members and public safety efforts. As we move forward, you can still expect our team of federal prosecutors to take on tough cases, whether those involve violent crime, drug trafficking, illegal guns, national security, hate crimes, or holding people in authority accountable for violations of the law. We will continue to work with law enforcement agencies, including MPD, to enforce criminal law and keep people safe. We look forward to working with the city, MPD, and the community to ensure that the city and police department protects the rights, safety, and dignity of all of its residents.
We have time for a few questions.
Yes. In terms of the timing of the release of the findings, how important was it to get the investigation completed before the inauguration of Donald Trump? His presidency could change the way these types of investigations look in the future, or even if these types of civil rights investigations exist at all.
The mission of the Department of Justice is to protect civil rights for all people. So the career employees of the Department of Justice, the federal prosecutors of the United States Attorney's Office will continue that mission through any administration.
Sorry, Daily Memphian, sorry. No, one question, please. Daily Memphian?
Okay.
I can't see.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'll
Go
go for
ahead.
the Daily Memphian. In terms of injunction, you mentioned, when would the Department of Justice sue for such an injunction?
I will underscore that the city has been very cooperative during the course of this investigation. So we look forward to working with the city to figure out our next steps. We're pleased that the city has brought a collaborative spirit to this process to date, and look forward to figuring out how we can work together to address the very severe violations we have identified.
CBS.
WROG, Richard Wilborn. My question to you, the city of Memphis has said that they will not enter an agreement in principle to negotiate a consent decree. First of all, they're saying that they're doing this because they're claiming they didn't have enough time to review, and the word they used also was that you're accommodating. What is your response to that? Did they have enough time, or is it normal to go into these agreements without the municipalities reviewing it first?
Our goal ultimately is to fix the problem. Our goal is to ensure fair, constitutional, and non-discriminatory policing force for the city of Memphis. We hope to work with the city to implement the necessary reforms, to implement the remedial measures that have been recommended in the report. The city now has the report and can review it, and we hope to meet with them to move forward in the future.
Fox 13.
Hi, Kayla Solomon, Fox 13. So one of the other reasons cited by the city of Memphis was they felt this investigation was much shorter than other pattern and practices investigations. They said that it was 17 months as opposed to 2 to 3 years. What is the reasoning why this one was, a little shorter than the other investigations?
We follow the facts and apply the law. Here we were exhaustive. I mentioned the countless body-worn camera footage, video that we reviewed, interviews that we conducted, documents that we examined, data that we analyzed, experts that we worked with. We left no stone unturned during the course of our investigation, and the report that we are publicizing today lays bare the extent of the findings of violations of law that we have uncovered.
Commercial appeal.
Hi. So in the past, the state has overturned some of the reforms that Memphis has tried to institute, thinking about bans on pretextual stops. Is there any concern among DOJ and your team that without a federal consent decree, any changes that the city and the department try and institute will just be rolled back by state legislators?
This is not a new issue. In every jurisdiction where we have uncovered violations of the Constitution and federal law, We have been able to work cooperatively with officials to figure out how to correct those violations. And we're confident that we can do the same here in Memphis.
MLK 50.
Yes, do you trust or believe that the city and MPD will be able to make the needed reforms without an agreement and a consent decree?
I'll start with saying that prior to the institution of this investigation, they did begin making changes as we referenced. The investigation, however, does not reveal small changes that need to be made. They are a pattern and a practice, which requires significant changes and significant investments in reform. We will continue to speak with city leadership, lay out our plan for their ability to institute these reforms, and we will see what the city's response will be.
University of Memphis.
Yes, thank you. Hi. Should this become the absolute case that the city of Memphis will not participate in a consent decree, could that result in any loss of federal funding?
The statute that we are using here, 34 U.S.C. 12601, authorizes the Justice Department to file suit. So that would be the recourse. But we are very hopeful that we will be able to continue to work cooperatively with the city to address the very real and significant violations of law and the Constitution that we have uncovered.
ABC.
Hi, Leah Williams. You mentioned that the type of policing and practices seen here don't actually help reduce violence. So what type of police tactics would you recommend that actually do help with that issue?
So I actually noted examples of success, examples of communities across the country where consent decrees have brought about significant change and transformation. In Seattle, for example, the police, after we came in and instituted a consent decree, the police have reduced the use of force in crisis incidents to less than 2% of encounters. In Baltimore, after the tragic death of Freddie Gray, they overhauled their fleet of transportation vehicles, data collection mechanisms, policies and training, and most recently only had 11 reported injuries during over 16,000 encounters. In Albuquerque, nearly 5% of the calls to the police are now diverted to Albuquerque Community Safety, which sends teams of civilian responders to help people with behavioral health needs. The police chief describes the consent decree as the best thing that's ever happened to the department. So consent decrees across the country have a track record of success, help bring about change and reform, and we are confident that a consent decree can help forge a new chapter for the city of Memphis.
Last question, NBC.
Jerry Askin, Action News 5. I know you said you interviewed residents about their experience with police, but did any MPD officers give you specific examples of how they felt things were unjust or any pattern of discrimination from their perspective?
Yeah, we absolutely spent significant time with the rank and file of Memphis PD, participated in ride-alongs. We heard from them about the challenges that they face, the change that they want to see. So hearing from the community and law enforcement was critical to how we approach this investigation.
Any specifics though from MPD officers on what they may have seen that support your findings?
And we provide an overview of what we learned from police officers in the report that we have publicized.
Thanks all.